15 glorious laps around the 13-turn, 4.42 kilometre, 2.75 mile Circuito de Jerez. Angel Nieto awaits the Raiders in race 2 ahead of JuniorGP. Once more, race 1 was filled with a dynamic duo at the front, setting lap record pace lap after lap until we had a dynamic duo finale at the very end. The Andalusian Hills will remember that one for years to come as the title race heats up in 2024 JuniorGP World Championship. Whoever takes victory here today will surely carry the momentum heading into the final 2 rounds of the season. So it's time to gear up, time to strap in. It's time for JuniorGP. So we take another look at one of the many monuments around this brilliant Circuito de Jerez. Angel Nieto, steeped in history all the way back to 1987, both 2 wheels and 4. The Teo Pepe monument overlooking the Jerez circuit has become a staple and an icon throughout those many years. The sun continues to shine, however, the conditions have heated up since we had race number 1 at 11 o'clock this morning as we now approach 1:45 here in Andalusia. So this is what happened to race number 1. From pole position for the second time in as many race weekends, it was Guido Pini who didn't get the whole shot off the line. It was his teammate Brian Uriarte in his first ever JuniorGP race. Those battles galore further down the field, but it was Brian Uriarte that took the advantage at the front with Carpe and Jesus Rios in close attendance. Bit of a moment there for Max Quiles and Rico Salmel. They ran a little bit deep at Pedrosa corner as RB Adatama crashed out early on in the race. But it was Brian Uriarte who had the initial advantage, opening up the lead to almost 1 second ahead of Pini, Carpe and Rios. But it was then Pini who moved into second. He would then set his sights on his title rival or his teammate. Max Quiles, he crashed out after what has been a tough 7 days for the young Spanish rider. But with his crash, that now separated the top 4 from the chasing group, which was then headed by Adrian Cruces with Casey O'Gorman, Rico Salmel and Rosenthaler in close attendance. This moment here was disastrous for Rios' championship hopes as he had a crash out of 3rd position before Guido Pini took over at the front after Brian Uriarte allowed him through for the time being. Further back, there was this contact between Rosenthaler and Poggio. Poggio very lucky not to be collected by the stricken bikes. But it was then Eddie O'Shea in his penultimate race in JuniorGP that headed the second group in 4th spot as the rest continued to swap paint, collide a few times with elbow-to-elbow racing. As the last few laps began, it was still Eddie O'Shea in 4th spot ahead of Hekim Danish and Adrian Cruces, who would eventually come to the top of that group. However, it would then be the 72 Artbox Racing Team duo that would take 1-2 in JuniorGP, with Guido Pini taking the second victory of the season to close to within 36 points of the championship leader. Well, Guido Pini, his second victory in as many races, his 3rd podium on the bounce. He's either finished 2nd or 1st in JuniorGP so far since he made his debut in Portimao. He scored 45 points in Portimao. He's already scored 25 points here today, and he's already to within 36 points of Alvaro Carpe, who picked up a very important 16 points in race number 1 to consolidate his championship advantage. And Connor, there seems to be an air of tension now ahead of race number 2 down there in the paddock, and well, you get the feeling that this second race might play out a little bit differently to race number 1.
You do, Liam, that's absolutely right. And when we were speaking to Guido Pini earlier, even he said that the temperature is going to be different and he expects a different kind of race this time around.
Yeah, Guido Pini has been the star of JuniorGP in the last couple of rounds. He's only done 2 events, and starting from pole position on those 2 occasions. It's incredible from the 2022 European Talent Cup champion. 7th in the championship on 70 points, but from a total of 75 that he's competed in, well, to miss out on 5 points is quite an incredible feat.
Yeah, the stats speak for themselves. Look at that. 2nd in the Algarve, 1st, and then 1st again. He's the man that all the other riders on this grid are going to be watching
Yeah, he is indeed. He did say after qualifying yesterday he's not thinking of the championship, but if he could take more points off Alvaro Carpe today, he might just roll into the penultimate round in Aragon thinking that he can be champion in 2024. However, his closest challenger in race number 1 could be his closest challenger and his downfall potentially in race number 2. Ryan Uriarte competing in Junior GP for the first weekend of his career after turning 16 years old 1 month ago on the 11th of August. And as you can see there, he hasn't competed in any of the previous 4 events, and as soon as he turns up to his first one, he just finishes within 1/10 of a second of his race-winning teammate.
Yeah, absolutely incredible finish to that, and there'll be pure ecstasy if that happens again in the 72 Artbox Racing Team box.
Well, indeed. However, Alvaro Carpe kept his powder dry and his nose clean in race number 1, and he picked up his 4th podium of the season, his 4th on the bout. 2 victories, 2 third places. Well, he'll be hoping for more silverware, but maybe he'll be hoping to go either 1 or 2 positions better in race number 2 here today. He did pick up a double second place finish last year behind Angel Paqueras and David Almanza. With those 2 going on to Moto3 World Championship, I think he came here this weekend expecting to be able to take victory in both races. Well, he did pick up 16 points in race number 1 and he'll be hoping to go for race number 2 glory. Now, point to the head, maybe for Jesus Rios to think a little bit in race number 2. Maybe got himself a little bit overexcited in race number 1 after the high set coming out of turn number 12. He was very lucky to walk away from that one. He's seemingly okay after that, but big points in the championship corner thrown away from Jesus Rios.
And we can really see how his form oscillates from that graphic that we just saw there. He's either everything or nothing is Jesus Rios, but he's another local rider that's going to be looking to perform to their very best in front of the home fans.
Now, a rider that needs a big result is Max Quiles. He had the world at his feet seemingly coming into this season in Junior GP. Double European Talent Cup champion in 21 and of course last year. And Max Quiles, see some remnants of that crash he had last weekend on his chin there. But thankfully Max Quiles was okay to compete this weekend, but unfortunately crashed out of race 1 earlier on today. He'll be hoping for maybe just a clean race, but it is Max Quiles we're talking about. So anything but a nice, simple race is in the form book for Max Quiles.
Rico Salmela as well. He has won in this class this year. There we see it in Estoril. One of the people that maybe we thought earlier would be contending for the title with Rios and Carpe.
Another rider that is, as you said, everything or nothing. After that first victory in Estoril, he didn't score any more points until race number 2 in Portimao, and well, a few fans watching on under the sunshine, a few beers in hand as well, so they're having a great glorious day.
It's a good life here in Jerez.
It really is, and indeed, there's some of the fans there really getting involved and having a great day out in Jerez. You're a big crowd here today in Jerez, I must admit.
It's been growing all day, Liam, as we watch on here as Yambias prepares for his race.
Yeah, he looked very strong in race number 1 in the early stages, however dropped back to 13th. He was running at 5th at one stage. Looked like he could maybe go with the top 4 at one point of the race until him and Max Quiles started knocking lumps out of each other before Quiles went down. I don't believe it was anything to do with Yambias because we didn't get a penalty for him, but we'll hope to see more from Yambias in this race, and it's good to see Dodo Boggio taking the start here after a quite nasty coming together with Rosenthal at Pedrosa Corner in race number 1. He was thrown into the air, so much so that he came back down with ice on his leathers. Quite figuratively, of course, because it's so warm here today.
Yeah, it was a nasty one. It was great to see him out here on the grid for his second opportunity here in Junior GP.
Yeah, it's great to see Dodo Boggio, who's a former race winner here in Jerez back in the European Talent Cup 2022. Well, this is something to behold. Eddie O'Shea in his final ever Junior GP race as he moves on to the Moto3 World Championship. Team manager Macaulay Webb on the right-hand side. And of course, Marco Morelli, who's got his second race coming up. Those two are absolute brilliant friends of Marco Morelli and Eddie O'Shea. It's a really family-knit effort as the MLAF racing team. They all get on extremely well. And if you haven't seen it yet, go check out our social media channels and you'll see a a great little segment, a social segment between Eddie O'Shea and Marco Morelli, and they both ask each other a couple of questions. And if you watch all the way to the end, which I suggest you do, they're both asked who their favourite artist is or favourite song. And Eddie O'Shea says Adele, Someone Like You. So Marco Morelli makes him sing it, and it's well worth a watch. So make sure you go onto the JuniorGP social media channels and watch that.
Yeah, that's not one to miss, Liam. yeah. Casey O'Gorman, another rider that we think could well challenge for a podium here.
Yeah, indeed he can. He was unfortunately lost contact with the leading group in race 1, but then came across the line in a very competitive 7th position, just missing out in the top 6. As the crowd continue to look on underneath the shadow of, well, trying to deflect some of the heat here because it is absolutely roasting out there on track.
Good thing they've got umbrellas on the grid. We also saw earlier in the stands very young Alvaro Carpe fan club. I don't know if you remember, Liam. I was a bit taken aback because they were here yesterday as well during qualifying. So he's one young rider making a real name for himself.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we were standing next to him at the top of the paddock and watching the European Talent Cup qualifying, and he was down in pit lane, and the fans were shouting down. It was like, Alvaro, Alvaro. And then he noticed them eventually, waved to them, and they all lost their mind. So it's great to see Alvaro Carpe already has fans here in JuniorGP, and of course that fan club will become ever bigger as his career progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we have Adrian Cruzes, another rider that is more than capable of fighting his way through the pack to get into contention at least.
Yeah, Cruzes, he's got himself, well, he's lost touch a little bit with Carpe in the championship, so much so, I mean, it's only 10 points, but he hasn't beaten Carpe for a number of races. He'll be hoping to do that here today, but can anyone stop Guido Pini from pole position?
That is the question, Liam, as we look at the starting grid. As you say, the pole sitter Pini is followed onto the front row by Uriarte and Carpe. On row 2, we've got Jesus Rios, Max Quiles, Enrico Salmela. On row 3, Yambias, Boggio and O'Shea. Following them on to row 4 is O'Gorman, Danish and Cruzes. Row 5, Rosendala, Moodley and Morosi. Row 6, Buchanan, Uriarte and Pawelek. Row 7, we've got Ravenstoffer, Monognane and Famara. Row 8, Sharil, Belford and Aditama. Row 9, Liguori, Van Tricht and Abruzzo. And on row 10, Tietzi, Ukiumi and Fuetisan. Row 11, Odaki and, from the back, Farkas.
Well, 32 runners and riders take their spots on the grid ahead of the warm-up lap. Guido Pini from pole position. He's won the last 2 races of JuniorGP. And well, he is now starting to motor on and closing up that gap. And oh my goodness me, was there a bit of contact there between Pini and one of the Australian Lithium machines? They both lost the rear end at the same moment, so I wasn't sure if there was a bit of contact there. Was that Quiles and Pini? I think it was. So
just get the battle started early.
Yeah, these two know each other very closely from Red Bull Rookies Cup and of course the European Talent Cup. So Quiles, well, we did say he's somebody that doesn't like to back down from a fight. That seems to be including leading into the first corner in the warm-up lap. Thankfully, although there was a bit of a moment there, you know, every single rider is making the way, all 32 of them, to the grid. And Guido Pini will be going from that pole position. But as Max Quiles leads him on the warm-up lap, he'll be hoping to do much of the same in the race. Now, we are expecting much warmer conditions in this race after we did have cooler temperatures in race number 1. Air temperatures up 7 degrees from race 1 to 31 degrees. Track temperature 44, so also track temperatures going up 7 degrees as well. That's going to make it a lot more greasy.
It's a substantial difference.
A very big difference. We have seen throughout all of this weekend, the afternoon sessions are much trickier. The track becomes greasy. Tyres will come into consideration for this one, and of course the lap times drop by about a second and a half, depending on the category. Now, this is what the championship looks like after race number 1. Carpe leads away 10 points ahead of Cruzes. He'll drop back 3 points at Cruzes in race 1. Uriarte, that's Marcos, not Brian, and third. Marcos will be needing a much better result in race number 2 here today. Hasn't really shown much form since Catalunya. Struggled in Portimao with a DNF, finished far down the order in race number 2 and struggled to get himself inside the top 10. So, Guido Pini, 36 points off the championship lead, scored 70 points from all 3 races he's competed in so far in Junior GP, but he will have close competition from the 51, his teammate, making his debut this weekend. He finished second, less than a tenth of a second off Pini in race number 1. He learned a lot from Pini, did Brian Uriarte, and he'll be hoping to go one step better in race 2. But what can Carpi do? Your championship leader from the outside of row number 1. Revs are rising. Pini, Brian Uriarte, Alvaro Carpi are your front row as lights go out now. Here we go, and a great start there from your pole setter Guido Pini, but an even better one once again from Brian Uriarte, elbow to elbow. Carpi, he comes through as well into second. Rios around the outside, so it's once again, as it was in race number 1, it's Uriarte from Carpi, Rios and Pini. He's been slotted back and forth. Ash Yambias on the blue on the outside. Here comes Quiles up the outside of Pini. Oh, it makes Pini set up a little bit. Yambias is on the outside. He slots into second. Pini, he's now been shuffled back into that second spot just ahead of Salmela. But as we go through turn 4, like it was in race number 1, it's Uriarte leading the way from Carpi, Rios, Quiles, he's wanting to make amends from race number 1. And who was that? Was that Boggio? I think that was Boggio up the inside. He's making some positions a little bit further back on the 47. It was indeed Boggio. He's now past Jambias. He's behind Cruces. And now it's Pini. He's into 5th spot. So, as they come into the braking zone from Joseph Corner, lap number 1, Quiles goes from 4th to 2nd. He's been made to take stock ever so slightly, but Uriarte still leading the way.
Yeah, fantastic start there. Uriarte looked at one moment like Pini might have just got in his way there, but Uriarte just managed to get ahead, and it's Pini who's come off worse. He's dropped down to 5th.
Yeah, we saw this in race number 1 earlier on today. Pini did drop down the order in the early stages, but came through the pack like a hot knife through butter. We have a moment there for Max Quiles in 4th on bike 28. But this is the shot they would not have wanted to see. Brian Uriarte, like he did in race number 1, at the head of the pack. He began to pull away, and it was only Pini, when he got through to 2nd, that was able to set his hooks into Brian Uriarte and close down that gap. Now into Lorenzo Corner for the first time. Max Quiles, he's making a move on Jesus Rios. He's in 3rd. Boggio a little bit further back on the 47. Oh, a moment there from Boggio out of the seat. Yellow helmet in the 47. He's behind Salmela on 27, so he's moved up a few places after that DNF from race number 1. But as we end lap number 1, it's Uriarte from now. Quiles, no, it's Carpi, your championship leader, then Quiles, and Pini, he's now made his move on Jesus Rios. He's in 4th.
Yeah, Quiles is looking like he's going to be quite aggressive, trying to force his way through to the front of the pack.
Just a little bit further back, Brett Watch O'Gorman is in 10th. Well, Irish and Brett Watch O'Gorman in 10th, and Eddie O'Shea in his final ever Junior GP race before heading to Moto3. He's in 14th, so he's dropped down a few places, but we did see his late race pace in race number 1 was mighty. So watch out for the number 8 on the M-Lab Racing Squad machine. There he is. He's just told one of the riders in the background to tag on to him. So Eddie O'Shea, he'll be making some moves in this race, and making lots of moves is Quiles, who doesn't take 2nd, doesn't take 1st. Well, he does take 2nd, but as Brian Uriarte swoops across the nose of Quiles, he still holds lead, but Quiles, he's come out to play in race number 2.
Yeah, that was an audacious move from Quiles. Looked for a moment like he was going to get 2 for 1, unable to make it stick. But he's showing the other riders just what he's going to be trying to do over the course of the 14 laps that we've still got left here.
Oh, here comes Quiles once more on Carpi. These two know each other extremely well from Red Bull Rookies Cup and, of course, European Talent Cup over the years. And that's allowed Pini through to 3rd. Carpi looks over his shoulder, and he sees that Salmela, the young Finnish rider, who had a great race in race number 1, 5th place for Salmela. However, this race so far is completely different to race 1. By this stage in race 1, we already saw Uriarte opened up a bit of an advantage. This time round, the top 11 are in the front group, with Eddie O'Shea in 12th spot. He's chasing after the group, so we'll watch out for the number 8. However, as we complete lap number 2, it's Uriarte from Quiles, from race 1 winner Guido Pini, and your championship leader Alvaro Carpi. Fastest laps come barreling in, and it's Rosenthaler from 10th. So Rosenthaler, after his collision with Boggio in race number 1 at Pedrosa Corner, he's on the back of this group. He is now charged to the top 10, and he's set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:45.9. That was almost 7/10 of a second faster than your race leader Brian Uriarte.
Yeah, wonderful lap from Rosenthaler.
Well, a bit of a move there from Carpe for third, but just takes stock for the time being as Guido Pini now sets up a run onto the back straight just behind Max Gilles. Now we've got, just seen further back, Yambias on bike 94, a bit of a shake of the head. I wonder if he had a bit of contact with Boggio. Boggio's now got Rosenthaler for company. Those two came a cropper in race number 1 coming together for them. That's Salmela out wide. Rios back into 5th. So the top 3 remain as they were into Pedrosa corner, but the 4th and 5th and 6th, they've changed hands a couple of times on this lap so far. Rios, he's now regrouped a little bit after dropping down the pack, and Carpe swoops around the outside into the stadium section as Cruces now makes a move on Salmela. So Salmela's dropped 2 positions in 4 corners.
Pini's down to 4th as well.
Yeah, Pini just lost out to Carpe into the stadium section, and this top 4 or 5 look like they're opening up a bit of an advantage over Cruces, who is just come to the front of that second group as Pini once again, as clean as you like, makes a move on Alvaro Carpe. Now Pini, all he needs to do is start scoring more points than Alvaro Carpe, and if he keeps taking 9, maybe 12 points out of Carpe each race, he is well and truly back in this championship.
Yeah, 100% he's doing so with fewer races competed in as well.
Yeah, he's been the class of the field, has Guido Pini so far since his debut in Portimao. But the class of the field so far in this race is Brian Uriarte, his teammate, who's making his debut this race weekend in Jerez, second in race number 1. And he's holding his own. He's now starting to edge out a bit of a gap on Keyless. I think Pini sees that, and Pini is now hounding the rear wheel of Max Keyless on this 4th lap.
Well, it wasn't until Pini managed to get ahead of the group he was competing with that he started setting faster lap times, started showing just how fast he can be.
Here he
goes. He does like to be ahead. What a move from Pini was that.
Oh,
Can he make it stick?
Yes, he's made it stick. That was beautiful from Pini. A bit close with the right leg of Max Keyless. However, both were able to get through the corner nice and cleanly. But Max Keyless, you know he's going to retaliate immediately.
Max isn't going to let that lie at all.
Super talented is Max Keyless, but can be a little bit hot-headed at times. But that's what JuniorGP is all about, letting these riders grow as a rider, grow as a human as well, so they become even more moulded when they reach the World Championship.
Yeah, Max is one of those precocious talents that you see not infrequently, but he's such a talented rider.
Incredible.
I think that's the reason why certain significant figures in the MotoGP paddock are paying close attention.
Yeah, and close attention, they're going to have to start. Oh, that was extremely close.
These two again.
Millimeters between front wheel and rear wheel.
The 72 R-Box Racing Team riders.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like some people are going to start taking a notice of Guido Pini, but he's now got to look over his shoulder. Keyless up the inside, but not making it stick there. Now, this race is completely different. It's a 10-wheeler at the front as Carpe takes advantage of Keyless's slow run out of turn number 1. Brian Uriarte looked over his shoulder. He was like, how many are there? Well, we saw 1 last time. It's about 7 or 8 now.
Oh, this better for us, better for us.
Yeah, better for the neutral, better for us commentators. We won't be able to stop talking, which is probably not so great for you listening at home. So, through turn 5 to go, powering onto the back straight. It just seems to be that Uriarte and Pini are using up a lot less of the racetrack. They can carry more speed and use up less of the racetrack coming on to the straight. Here comes Pini once again. Later in the brakes, Rios up the inside of Carpe. That's close for 4th and 5th. Carpe around the outside. It's
close for 1st and 2nd as well.
Yeah, no. Oh, who's that off in the back? And that's a blue bike. Was that Casey O'Gorman potentially? It wasn't any of our top 5 or 6. Might have been. Well, Casey O'Gorman's on the back of this group here. Please don't tell me it was. Oh, it was Casey O'Gorman. That's such a shame. Casey O'Gorman was on the back of the group, was a bit detached from, so was just pushing on ever so slightly, and he has gone down at turn 6, Pedrosa corner. So Casey O'Gorman was looking to pick up a better result in race 2 than he did in race number 1 with that 7th place, but he's gone down at Pedrosa corner. So that is unfortunately put paid to any hopes he had for the podium here today.
Yeah, it's a real shame for the Irish rider.
Yeah, so Casey O'Gorman, that now leaves Yambias and Keyless as the 2 Australian machines.
No space between those 2 bikes.
Not at all. They're leaving absolutely no room whatsoever. But Guido Pini, he's now at the front, ticks off another lap. 10 to go. He, for the first time this race, Uriarte does not lead at the end of a lap, but he's quite happy to sit there behind Guido Pini. Now, what can Pini do? These two were the class above in race 1 earlier on today. They finished 10 seconds ahead of Alvaro Carpi, who rounded out the podium position. However, I get the feeling, Connor, it's going to be a lot different in this race.
It does look like it's going to be a lot different. There are other factors at play as well. I know we mentioned it at the beginning of today's broadcasting, but as the afternoon gets warmer and warmer, the wind picks up as well, and that was something that made a big impact on qualifying as well. Speaking to the riders, it effectively made it more difficult to go around turn 11 than turn 12, I think, was what they were saying. So we might see adaptation to the conditions come into play a bit more as the race goes on.
Yeah, maybe this, if the wind has picked up, the greasier conditions as well might be playing into the hands of everyone else. Brian Uriarte has been shuffled back to third. Max Kiles, he's back into second spot. Brian Uriarte has lost 2 positions in 2 laps now. But I don't think he will mind that one iota at the moment as Guido Pini continues to lead the way. Here comes Carpi now. So Carpi, he's saved his way through into third position. That's pushed Brian Uriarte, who was leading this race all but 1 lap ago, back into 4th spot. And we saw Brian Uriarte take stock after Guido Pini came through in race number 1. They battled all the way down to the final corner. I thought I was going to get a repeat of the European Talent Cup race from last year when Pini went defensive and Uriarte rode around the outside of him to take victory, but no such pressure in race number 1 as Pini held on. However, will Brian Uriarte try and use some of that knowledge of the outside line on Pini, or any other for that matter, on the final lap in just 9 laps time? Further back, Eddie O'Shea, who we're watching for Brit Watch in his final race of his career in JuniorGP. He has Cormac Buchanan for company. Cormac Buchanan, who did start race number 1 from 32nd last of Greg Kim all the way through for top 10 position. Those two are running together and unfortunately lapping slower than the riders in front. So if Eddie O'Shea wanted a podium for his final race, he might have to get in front of Buchanan and start pushing on. As we look back at Cruces and Yambia, so Cruces losing even more championship points to his main rival. Alvaro Carpi is in 3rd spot at the moment. Cruces is all the way back down in 9th.
Yeah, Cruces really needs to get a grip on this race once again if he's going to start competing.
Yeah, he does indeed. Good ride from Dodo Boggio just in front of him in 8th. So Dodo Boggio has got his nemesis, so to speak, Jakob Rosenthaler, just in front of him. Rosenthaler colliding with the rear end of Boggio in race number 1 as Carpi once again, just like we saw last lap, uses turn number 9 to his advantage and takes 2nd from Max Kiles. So Carpi behind Pini, Kiles shuffled back to 3rd. Brian Uriarte ahead of Jesus Rios, the other Uriarte we have to watch out for, who is also in this championship battle. Marcos Uriarte is having a disastrous weekend so far. He's behind his teammates, who are both in championship contention coming into this round on the CF Moto Aspar Junior Team squad. They're 13th and 14th are Marossi and Uriarte.
Coming into this weekend, Marcos Uriarte was 3rd in the championship standings. Not been an event for him to remember, really.
No, it hasn't been at all. Marcos Uriarte will be hoping to get out of Jerez and on to Aragon. We'll hopefully find more fortune as Carpi gets shuffled out wide by Kiles, and that just allowed Brian Uriarte to come through at turn number 2. So Carpi, he knows what Kiles is like, and Kiles doesn't mind putting you out on the curb or the grass. No matter, as long as he gets through, he'll do it any which way he can.
There we go. Uriarte again ahead of Kiles.
Uriarte is back behind his teammate now. Guido Pini has not seen any of what's happened behind him, as he's been at the front of this pack and quite brilliantly setting the pace on the late to mid 146.
Lining up a move again.
Oh, Jesus Rios as well sets up your championship leader. Carpi with his left leg off the foot peg coming through the corner, and that's now led Sam Mellor potential to take advantage of that. Not quite. Sam Mellor still in 6th spot just behind your championship leader. Carpi is getting carved up here as Uriarte retakes 2nd position. So all this chopping and changing, squabbling is just allowing Pini to set his own pace at the front on the bike number 96.
Yeah, and Pini looked so good when he was leading the pack in the previous race.
Another yellow flag at turn 6. We'll see who potentially went down. Hopefully whoever it was is okay, but it doesn't look like it's any of our top 12. We just saw them flash into screen, so we'll see who it was any moment now. another rider. It looks like it might be Uchimi and Liguori. So yeah, Uchimi and Liguori, they've just tumbled down our order. So another 2 riders a little bit further back out of the race. There we are.
Yeah, there we go.
Both riders walking away. So that's good to see that both are able to get on their feet and walk off, even though it's quite difficult ones. Here we go, replay. Was it a bit like the Rosenthal and Boggio crash in race? Oh,
no.
just... My goodness me, that was Uchimi just tucking the front, and Liguori with absolutely nowhere to go. He's a passenger in that one.
I'm not surprised he was limping after that one.
Yeah, it was a big one there for Liguori, but thankfully both were on their feet. However, back at the front, it's still Pini leading the way from Uriarte, Keyless. These 3 now look like they're broken a little bit from Jesus Rios, who's still just in front of Alvaro Carpe. He's now got his teammate Rosenthal
behind Carpe.
Yeah, indeed he is. He has fallen behind Carpe. So Carpe, he's a master of racecraft in 2024 as Alvaro Carpe. He's shaking his head, so there must have been another coming together, a moment between Rios and Carpe when we're watching that replay of the Uchimi and Liguori incident. So Carpe clearly not happy with Rios. He runs a little bit deep into Pedrosa corner. That's just allowed Rios once again. Now was a potentially yellow flag
back
in the background. We just saw the marshals walking away from that incident. We saw a previous lap, but hopefully we're all okay. No yellow flags were out. And so Carpe back into 4th ahead of Rios, Samela, and now Rosenthal just behind them.
Aquila is looking to line up and move as well, it looks like. Take any opportunity on the young Spaniard.
Yeah, it'll be something he's looking for. His first victory of the season in Junior GP. His last couple of rounds, or last couple of races, he's starting to show the consistency and speed we've expected all season from Keyless, as he now shows the overtaking prowess he has, as well as he makes his way into 2nd position.
Yeah, Keyless is a rider that started the season quite slowly in this class in Junior GP, but as the races have gone on, he's grown into it, I think is the word.
Yeah, but Brian Uriarte is having absolutely none of it, and he's the one who wants to be the main challenger to his teammate. But Max Keyless once more, just let off the brakes. I thought he was going to, but not quite. We'll see another couple of riders tumbling down order. We've got the number 91, 92 retired. We did see that incident just flashed up on our timing monitor.
No, Uriarte wants to steal the show, I think, Liam. I mean, absolutely sensational for a first ride.
Oh, it is indeed. He saw Guido Pini turn up for his first ride in Junior GP back in Portimao, and he's like, I want something the same.
Exactly. Pini stole the show last time out, now it's his teammates' turn.
Brian Uriarte was about to steal the thunder from Pini. I thought he was about to chop into leads. It's definitely Keyless that stole Brian Uriarte's thunder there, as he swoops back into 2nd, and now, I thought that was, we do have Boggio down. Boggio once again. A disastrous day for Boggio, turn number 6. Thankfully this time it looked like it was just a front ender rather than over the top he had.
Having such a promising ride as well.
He was indeed. After race number 1, where he was taken out by Rosenthaler in that very same corner, he was shown very well. He's dropped down to 9th place. Cruces came past him on the previous lap, so maybe he's pushing on a little bit more to try and retake that 8th position. But now Cruces is in 8th. He's dropped off a little bit from the back of Rosenthaler. So the top 7, they've broken away from Cruces, who is the main championship rival to Alvaro Carpe. He came into this race 10 points behind your championship leader. If he finishes there, Carpe will be extending that championship lead even more, as Samela had a bit of a look up the inside of Rios, but remains in 6th for the time being. So we take off another lap. 5 to go here, race number 2 at Jerez. It is Pini leading the way from Keyless, Uriarte, Carpe, your championship leader, Rios, Samel, Rosenthal, Cruces, Yambias, Buchanan, and then O'Shea rounding out 11th and 10th position. Further back, we've got Moontley, Marcos Uriarte, who's finally made his way past his teammate Alessandro Morosi, and Pomada looking for another points finish here in 2024. But quite rightly, we're keeping an eye on what is happening in race number 2 at the front with 7 riders. There was 2 leading the way in race number 1. But this time around, we've got 5 extra players to the party in the hands of Keyless, Carpe, Rios, Samela, and Rosenthaler. Here we go. Keyless is pulled to the left-hand side of the circuit on our screen. Uriarte following Pini. Now late on the brakes, we've seen in the previous few laps, he's getting that Honda squarely on the brakes, but manages to get it stopped. Does the Max Keyless.
He's tried that move a few times, I think. And just earlier there, Liam, we saw the team, the 72 Outbox Racing team, watching on with nervous eyes. I mean, they're looking for another 1-2, consecutive 1-2s.
Yeah, to continue on what has been an outstanding day for that team in both Junior GP and European Talent Cup. So 4.5 laps to go. Turns 9, into turn 10. We've seen turns 9 and turn 10 we'll take a couple of riders down so far here today. Won't give away the results what happened in Moto 2, but that's well worth watching to see the drama that unfolded there. However, we expect lots of drama in the remaining 4 laps here in Junior GP Race 2. Salmela once again having a little look up the inside of Jesus Rios, but Jesus Rios is a little bit later on the brakes. But Guido Pini, another lap at the front, another lap where he looks the most comfortable rider on the grid at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw this in qualifying as well. He's perfectly happy setting his own pace, riding alone and leading the pack. That's just what he's doing here with 4 laps to go. Guido Pini really excelling at the moment. Now, I don't know where this late pace has come from, but Eddie O'Shea, he's just passed Cormac Buchanan and Fernando Yambias on that previous lap. And apart from this top group, he's the fastest rider on track. He's just dropped his pace to the low 147s. This group are in the high 46s. So if you could find that form earlier on in the race, he could have been with this top 7 as well. Once again, Salmela has another look up the inside of Cruces. Sorry, up the inside of Rios. Yeah, Salmela, he's trying to make his move, he's trying to make it stick, but Rios is proving himself to be a very, very mature rider with the way he's defending it. Now, I don't know if it's Pini just being the latest of the late breakers, or maybe Keyless is just happy to sit there in second as long as nobody rides around the outside of him. But Pini seems to be extremely brave on the brakes into Pedrosa corner. Well, so we did have a leading group of 10 at one stage. That became 8, now it's 7 with Cruces. He's very, very much attached from the back of this group. There he is, flashing into shot now. Second place in the championship. He's now got O'Shea, Buchanan and Yambias now closing him down hand over fist. On the previous lap, he was a second slower than that chasing group. It looks like he was struggling through turns 9 and 10 a little bit. He's losing even more time. The honing into the back of the number 11 are the 8, 14 and the number 94. So keep an eye on that, because Cruces is losing even more important points in this championship battle. Carpe, if he remains there, he will extend his championship lead over Adrian Cruces and of course over Marcos Uriarte and Alessandro Morossi. So it's a great day for Carpe, disastrous day for his championship rivals. Absolutely. We also saw there during this little chopping and changing, Salmela finally make his move stick on Rios. Well, on that lap, it's a big disaster for Cruces. He was in the 148s in that previous lap. The chasing group were on the 146s. O'Shea 46.7, Cormac Buchanan and Yambias in 48.8. So Cruces, he's going to lose even more positions any moment now and lose even more points. As we saw Rosenthaler on the curb in the background. Rico Salmela, he's made his move on Rios. He's into 5th spot now. What can the diminutive finish rider do in this race? We say diminutive now, as we mentioned at the top of the show. He has had a bit of a growth spurt over the summer. Yeah, absolutely, Liam. But that's what tends to happen with riders at this age. It's just a fantastic ride by Max Keyless. He's the only Honda in this leading group. No, Keyless has been absolutely sensational in this race. Yeah, he's hoping to rebound from that crash he had in race 2. Looking up the side of Pini, not quite this time round. Just Pini not allowing him through. He knows Keyless is there. He knows Keyless is there here, but he knows Uriarte is there now as well, because Uriarte took full advantage of Keyless thinking twice about the move on Pini, and Uriarte says, thank you very much. If you're not going to set on after Pini, I'll do it myself. I know my teammate better than you. Indeed, even though we've only been teammates for 1 weekend, I still know him better. Now Cruces, he has dropped down to 9th. O'Shea on bike number 8, he's into 8th spot in his final Junior GP event of the season. A bit of a bobble on the front from Max Keyless. I thought he might have lost the front for a moment there, but thankfully it's okay as the team power on. Brian Uriarte is looking for a move up the inside of his teammate, and he's made it stick. A clean and clinical, brilliant move from Brian Uriarte. Retakes the initiative in this race with 2 laps to go. Those 15 laps have really been ticking down quickly with these 7 riders that have been watching at the front of this field. So, Carpe, what can he do? He finished 3rd earlier on today. He's now in 4th. He's behind Max Keyless. Can Guido Pini take the double? He's got Brian Uriarte within touching distance, and of course standing in the way of his 2nd win of the weekend. Keyless, he was out on the curb in the background. That's just allowed Uriarte and Pini to get away ever so slightly is now coming under a lot of pressure from your championship leader down into Pedrosa corner. Carpe up there instead of Keyless. Rico Salmel, he's looking around the outside. That's not going to work. Rico, he's out wide, and Jesus Rios, he's looking for a move on the finish ride on bike 27, but can't quite make it second. However, Alvaro Carpe, he's now into that all-important podium position to strike a hammer blow into his championship rivals who are further down the field.
Yeah, there's a fantastic move from Carpe. Took full advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him.
Now, since Brian Uriarte's got to the front of this pack, he looks over his shoulder. He's been doing it a couple of times so far at this race. He looks very happy. He's now starting to stretch. Guido Pini, his teammate on bike 96. What can Guido Pini do? There's just over a lap to go. Oh, Carpe's out on the curb. He was out on the dust almost. He's dropped back to fourth. Here comes Pini around the outside, up the inside. Oh, we remember this from last year. European Talent Cup Mark II between these two. Side by side along the home straight. One more lap to go. Pini versus Uriarte. It seems to be these two. The fastest laps of the race from Uriarte and Pini. These two are pressing on. A bit of a bobble in the front from Uriarte, but he's in the lead for now. Here comes Pini into turn 2, and no Keyless. I thought Keyless was going to take it. Oh wow, unbelievable action. A 1:45.7. Brian Uriarte, where did that come from?
Yeah, absolutely sensational from Uriarte, but Keyless is giving absolutely no quarter here. He's right on Uriarte's back wheel. He's going to try and make his move as well.
Oh, Keyless! Wow, up the inside into turn 5. He's past Brian Uriarte. Keyless, we knew he could do it. He's gunning for victory here in Jerez. Down the back straight they go. The 5 riders all within this. Pini's in the same situation he was in last year in the European Talent Cup, leading the way to Pedrosa corner. Oh no! Don't take out your teammate. Brian, wow, what a move. Sideways shuffle he was. Pini's on the curb. Now, Brian Uriarte leads away. Pini's back into third. Rico Salmel, he's still there, but Brian Uriarte gunning for his first victory in Junior GP and his first weekend as Carpe makes a move on Pini.
Oh, Pini's come out worse for that. He's dropped down to fourth.
Oh, Salmela! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Rico Salmel always has a big crash.
On the last lap.
On the last lap, he was on the curb and it just high-sided. Hopefully Rico's okay, but he never has a small incident, does Rico? He was pushing for a podium here, but that's allowed Brian Uriarte. Keyless up the inside of Carpe into turn 12, but Brian Uriarte, he wanted to steal the thunder from Pini. He's done it. Uriarte into the final corner. It's going to be Uriarte from Keyless, but can Carpe hold on to a podium? Here comes Pini. He's in fourth, but Brian Uriarte on his debut weekend takes victory here in Jerez. His first victory in Junior GP from Max Keyless, and Carpe third again in race number 2, 16 important points, and Guido Pini, his worst result of the season, in the fourth, ahead of Rios and Rosenthaler. And on his swan song in Junior GP, Eddie O'Shea picks up 7th. But everyone will be talking, what a sensational debut weekend from Brian Uriarte. Absolutely outstanding as he pops a burnout before he even stopped.
No, absolutely sensational from Uriarte. Pini will be ruining the way that last lap went for him, but you can't do anything but applaud his teammate Brian Uriarte, who has been absolutely sensational today in race 1, in race 2. What a ride from the 16-year-old.
Remember this name, Brian Uriarte. He's only 16 years old. It's his first weekend in Junior GP. He qualified second yesterday. He finished second behind his teammate in race 1 earlier on today. He learned everything from his teammate earlier on, and he knew when to strike on the final lap to take his maiden victory in the class. Brian Uriarte, a Junior GP winner. Max Keyless rebounds brilliantly after his crash in race 1 earlier on today to finish second, and by far the top Honda rider in Junior GP. The next Honda rider was Eddie O'Shea down in 7th.
Yeah, Keyless can be absolutely thrilled with the performance he's put in race 2. Shown everyone what he's capable of.
Yeah, and it comes 8 days after that quite worrying crash in Red Bull Rookies Cup. He's rebounded brilliantly, has Max Keyless. He's a star for the future as Max Keyless, but so is Brian Uriarte on bike 51. The Artbox, the 72 Artbox Racing Team rider. Well, he takes all the plaudits here today in Jerez. Alvaro Carpe does everything he needs to do to consolidate that championship lead. That's 5 podiums from the last 5 races for your championship leader. And he's doing a little bit of a bunny hop, is Alvaro Carpe. So he's always a showman, is Alvaro. Even when he doesn't win, he's always delighted with his race, and why not? It's been an incredible 7 days for Alvaro Carpe, and his main championship rival that's pushed him all the way to title success in Red Bull Rookies Cup in 2024 has gone out in his first weekend in Junior GP and taken victory right from the off. Brian Uriarte. Well, it's been the perfect day so far for the 72 Artbox Racing Team squad. They won race 1. We won't quite give away what happened in European Talent Cup race 1 earlier on today, but make sure you check out the results of that before race 2 coming up in just under half an hour's time. And then Brian Uriarte takes victory here today. There was Oscar Gutierrez as well, Moto E rider from the Estrella Galicia team. Just congratulating Brian Uriarte, another rider that has had a bit of a growth spurt within the last few months as well. But this is the decisive overtake with 2 laps to go. We take the lead of the race from Guido Pini, but Guido Pini did retaliate. However, this monstrous moment from Rico Salmela. Hopefully the Finnish rider is okay. Just ran in the curb, and when he rejoined, he was flicked off on the run to turn 9, the stadium section. Unfortunately, it's not the first time we've seen that from Rico. He never has a small crash, does the Finnish rider. When he goes down, he seems to go down hard, but he always seems to bounce back immediately. So hopefully we'll see Rico Salmela back in action in Aragon in a month's time. But it's Brian Uriarte who is taking the biggest points haul from the weekend, heading into the penultimate round of the season. He won't be part of the championship battle since he missed the opening 4 rounds and 7 races, but he's now established himself as potentially the favourite going into next year. Team photo for Alvaro Carpe. Another 16 points here today. And he's doing all he needs to do to secure himself the Junior GP Championship in 2024, looking to become only the third rider to do the double Red Bull Rookies Cup and Junior GP after Jose Antonio Rueda 2 years ago and then Angel Piqueras last year. Max Quiles, well, you never know what he's going to do. Can either be on the grind or he could be on the podium, but can never deny that Max Quiles is a star of the future. Where will he go next year? Well, there's talk that he might be moving on to the World Championship. We've also got to wait and see what happens there, but there's no denying that he will be a big name for the future wherever he goes and whenever he gets there. However, everyone is talking about the current star of Junior GP on Sunday here in Jerez. It was Guido Pini in race 1. It is Brian Uriarte in race 2, but it is the 72 Artbox Racing squad throughout the entirety of the weekend. Both of their riders have taken a victory each. However, Pino will be a little bit disappointed to miss out on a podium and 3 crucial points to Alvaro Carpe. However, there are still 75 points left on the board in 2024. He's now 39 points further back. But we will be hearing now from Brian Uriarte, who's down in Parc Fermé with Connor.
Brian, a sensational start to your Junior GP career, an incredible race. How was it for you?
Well, now I'm feeling incredible. Well, it was a super tough race. Everyone was super hard. I expect a smallest group, but well, finally we were 7 more or less on the group. So yeah, at the 2 last laps, I saw that I was having a bit more, so I tried to push and make a bit of gap. So yeah, I didn't see the last corner, but I think it was incredible. So yeah, well, my first victory. I didn't expect it, honestly, but well, I'm here now, super happy. And well, this is the part of everyone. We built this, so yeah, I worked very hard for being here. And yeah, just dedicate this race to my friend Hugo, that I think he's supporting me. I dedicate him last year also, so this year is for him, and also to my brother.
Wonderful, and in Spanish.
Bueno, la verdad es que la carrera ha sido muy dura, todo el mundo estaba muy fuerte, pensaba que el grupo iba a ser más pequeño, pero bueno, al final se ha visto que éramos 7 o así en el grupo y bueno, he intentado apretar. Las dos últimas vueltas he visto que tenía algo más y bueno, he intentado, la verdad, hacer un pequeño gap, pero bueno, no me he dado cuenta de si había hecho o no. Así que bueno, creo que la última curva ha debido de ser increíble y nada, estoy súper contento. Hemos creado esto, mi equipo y yo. He trabajado muy duro para estar aquí y nada, que quiero dedicarle esta carrera a mi amigo Hugo, que ojalá que esté allá arriba viéndome ganar y dedicarla también a mi hermano.
Congratulations.
It was a debut weekend to delight the fans of Brian Uriarte as he takes victory here in race number 2, JuniorGP at Jerez. However, this is how he did it, and he got a whole shot once more from second position on the grid. He led quite brilliantly for the opening 4 or 5 laps, but it was Max Gilles who was making some moves in the early stages of the race. Going from third to second with this incredible move on Alvaro Carpe in the stadium section. But then it was Guido Pini that started to make some inroads on the leaders after making a slow start. He was eventually through on championship leader Carpe. Not long before he moved in front of Max Gilles and then set his sights after his teammate. Brian Uriarte slotted back in second, but a bit of a bobble there for Pini at turn 6. But turn 6 would see the end for Casey O'Gorman's race. He slid out from the fringes of the top 10. But it would be Carpe that would retaliate a late charge on Pini, but Max Gilles was once again at the forefront of that challenge with another move at turn 1 and pushing Carpe onto the curb. That allowed Brian Uriarte back through for third, and Carpe was back off the podium. However, all that squabbling allowed Pini to make a bit of a break for it, but it was quickly scuppered away as Uriarte closed back in. There was that crash further back between Uchimi and Lagori, but we saw both of them thankfully walk away. Max Gilles looked like the closest challenger to Pini in the last couple of laps, but Uriarte on the penultimate lap made his move on Gilles before eventually taking the lead at turn number 1 after setting the fastest lap of the race. But on the penultimate lap, it was Pini that made a move into the final corner, and then 7 became 5 on the final lap with Pini leading the way, but he did eventually lose his lead into turn 6 as Uriarte pushed him out wide, and that allowed Gilles and then Carpe through. But there was this monstrous high side from Rico Salmela on the curbs. It's flicked him off going into turn number 8, and we hope the finish rider is okay. But that allowed Brian Uriarte to escape at the front, and Uriarte took a maiden victory in JuniorGP in his debut weekend in the class.
Con el equipo vencedor, fuerte el aplauso para el 72.
So we're expecting the top 3 to come out onto the podium, but thankfully this time round we've got somebody else on the podium for the team representation, just sharing out the honours are the 72 Art Box Racing Squad. Not that we don't want to see Emilio Alzamora, but wow, Alvaro Carpe, as cool as ice as the young Spanish rider, 83, your championship leader. Max Gilles, who used to be the shortest rider in any of the categories, even until last year, it looks like he's one of the tallest now, so he's had a massive growth spurt as Max Gilles. But the one that's standing proudest and atop the most is Brian Uriarte, as Mr. Jean-Marc Donet, FIM representative, hands over the team representative trophy to the 72 Artbox Racing Squad. Alvaro Carpe has third place finish this weekend, his 3rd in a row. The more important point for the championship. Max Gilles, his 2nd podium of the season, and probably his most convincing race so far this year. That first race win, you can say, might just be around the corner. However, taking his first race victory in JuniorGP on his first race weekend, it's Brian Uriarte that stands atop the top step of the podium.
De Brian Uriarte escuchamos el himno nacional de España. Fuerte el aplauso para los integrantes del Podium, 3 españoles.
Well,
Álvaro
expect to
Carpe,
hear the name Brian Uriarte for many years to come. As
There he is.
they spray the rose water.
This time it is Rosewater.
We're doing yeah, a bit of a cooling off needed now after what was incredible heated action out there on track corner.
Absolutely, and Brian Uriarte listening to his own national anthem at the first time of asking in this class. Something his teammate did do previously, but it's not to take anything away from the young Spanish rider. An absolutely sensational ride from start to finish. And if you look at some of the competition, look at the two other riders that he's sharing the podium with, it just allows you to see how difficult that was.
Yeah, 3 Spanish champions of the future, you believe. Brian Uriarte, Max Quilez and Alvaro Carpe, as you say, Connor. The riders to either side of him have got some of the biggest pedigree in Talent Cup racing at the moment.
I think it's safe to say that the future of Spanish motorsport is in good hands.
Oh, very good hands indeed. I don't think we questioned it for 1 second, but if anyone did, well, just have to look at those 3 and know that we've got a great young talent on the way.
Here are the final results then. Brian Uriarte taking that sensational first win. He was followed onto the podium by Maximo Quiles and Alvaro Carpe. In 4th, Guido Pini. And in 5th, Jesus Rios, the local lad from Andalucía as well. In 6th, Jacob Rosenthaler. 7th, Eddie O'Shea in his last ever race in this class. Adrian Cruz in 8th, and Facundo Yambimas in 9th. In 10th, Cormac Buchanan. In 11th, Ruche Moodley. In P12, Alessandro Morosi. 13th, Marcos Uriarte. 14th, Lennox Fomara. 15th, Milan Pavalek. 16th, Daniel Shahril. And in 17th, Gavozzo Monognani. In 18th, Jacofit Fuetesan. 19th, Cesare Tiezzi. 20th, Leonardo Abruzzo. And in 25th, Owen Van Tricht. 22nd, Evan Belford. 23rd, Amon Odaki. 24th, Kevin Farkas. And 25th, Arbi Aditama. And finally, we have in 26th, Leo Ramostoffer, and 27th, Dodo Boggio after his unlucky race.
So, we've got 2 more rounds to go. The penultimate round of Aragon in 1 month's time, and Alvaro Carpe takes an 18-point lead into the penultimate round over Adrian Cruces. Jesus Rios moves back up into 3rd. Marcos Uriarte after a difficult weekend down to 4th out of Alessandro Morosi. Max Quilez, he's now up to 3rd. With Guido Pini now 39 points off the championship lead. Cormac Buchanan, he slips down from 6th to 8th out of Casey O'Gorman, who crashed out of the race. Eddie O'Shea ends his Junior GP career with 52 points and 10th as he moves on to the World Championship in 2 weeks' time in Indonesia. Rico Salmela, after a horror crash in race number 2, he's in 11th out of Yambias Uriarte. That's Brian after taking his first victory of the season. And then further down, look at Daniel Shahril, who's had a difficult weekend ahead of Dodo Boggio in 19th. Marcos Ruda, then Evan Belford on 12 points out of Milan Pavalek. And then Guillaume Plonk, and then 23rd, Eamon Odaki and Leonardo Abruzzo. KJ Monignani next up in 26th spot for the South African, and of RB Aditama, who's having a difficult year in 27th spot. Lance Pomada, he's in 28th of Angus Grenfell, and Kotada Uchimi rounding out your 30th runners and riders with 1 point. So now we write race 2 for Junior GP into the history books, and of course we celebrate a debut victory for the number 51, Brian Uriarte, who's now got himself on the board with 45 points from potential 50 this weekend. And Connor, he's certainly one to look out for the rest of the season.
Without a doubt, but any of those leading riders at the front of this race are riders not only to look out for the rest of this season, but for the seasons to come. They're sensational.
Yeah, they are indeed. Max Quilez was another rider we just saw there. He was well and truly in the mix, gunning for his first ever victory in Junior GP. But you can imagine it's just around the corner for Max Quilez, putting up a fight on Honda against the KTMs and Husqvarnas in the top group. Guido Pini, he celebrated victory in race number 1 earlier on today, but was just shuffled off the podium in race number 2 to his teammate Brian Uriarte, who we see celebrating as he crossed the line for victory here on debut in Junior GP. 45 points from a potential 50. And just remember that number and that name, Brian Uriarte, Junior GP winner. And there's plenty more to come from the youngster.